The lantern on the cliff. Long ago, in a quiet fishing village beside a wide, restless sea, lived a young boy named Daniel. Daniel's father was a fisherman, just like his father before him. Every morning before the sun rose, the fishermen pushed their wooden boats into the dark blue water while the village still slept. But before leaving, they all did one thing. They stopped at the small stone chapel near the shore. Inside the chapel, a single lantern burned softly beside a wooden cross. The fishermen would bow their heads and whisper a prayer. "Lord, guide us today, keep us safe on the sea." Daniel always watched quietly from the doorway. He wondered if those prayers truly mattered. The storm. One afternoon, dark clouds gathered suddenly over the sea. The wind howled. Waves rose like moving mountains. Daniel stood on the cliff above the shore, watching the storm swallow the horizon. Far out on the water, tiny boats struggled against the raging waves. One of them was his father's boat. Fear tightened in Daniel's chest. "What if they don't come back?" he whispered. The village bell began to ring, calling everyone to the chapel. Inside, the fishermen's families knelt together. Daniel's grandmother held his hand and softly said, "Whenever we cry to the Lord, he hears us." "But what if the storm is too strong?" Daniel asked. She smiled gently. "The Lord is stronger." The cry for help. The storm grew fiercer. Thunder rolled across the sky. In the middle of the sea, Daniel's father and the other fishermen fought to keep their boats from breaking apart. The wind pushed them toward the sharp rocks beneath the cliffs. One of the fishermen shouted, "Pray, pray now." So they did. Over the roar of the storm, the fishermen cried out together, "Lord, save us." The light. Back in the village, Daniel suddenly had an idea. On the edge of the cliff stood an old lighthouse that hadn't been used for years. The storms had broken its lantern long ago. But inside the chapel, the lantern was still burning. Daniel grabbed it carefully. "Grandma, I know what to do." Before anyone could stop him, he ran up the hill toward the lighthouse. The wind nearly knocked him down, but he kept climbing the spiral steps until he reached the top. With trembling hands, he lifted the chapel lantern and placed it in the lighthouse window. A warm golden light burst into the stormy darkness. The rescue. Out on the sea, Daniel's father suddenly saw it. A light, bright and steady through the rain. "The cliff," he shouted. "Follow the light." The fishermen turned their boats toward it, steering away from the deadly rocks and toward the safe harbor. One by one, the boats reached the shore. The storm slowly passed. Trust that was not ashamed. When Daniel finally climbed down from the lighthouse, the fishermen were already returning. His father ran to him and lifted him in a tight hug. "You saved us," he said. Daniel shook his head. "No, God did." The villagers gathered around as the clouds parted and the first stars appeared. Grandmother looked at Daniel and gently said, "Do you remember what the scripture says?" She opened her Bible and read, "To you they cried and were rescued. In you they trusted and were not put to shame." Psalm 22:5. Daniel looked at the quiet sea and the glowing lantern above the cliff. That night, he finally understood. When people cry out to God with trust in their hearts, he never turns away. Moral: those who trust in God and call on him in times of trouble will never be ashamed, because he hears and rescues his people.